making it a little bit tougher for him, is hitting headshots, doing a lot of damage here to Na'Vi, so that armor going to be continued to be weakened up, and they're kind of thwarted from this attempt to clear out their northern edge.
AGAL also has to try to get in the circle, but it's going to be supervised by VC. They're probably going to be in some trouble in a second. A lot of shots coming out. You can hear in the distance going to be a them that popped in a car just trying to rotate past all this. Really, it's about can Na'Vi fight their way into the circle, because we're looking at the top of the leaderboard right now. G just might have to surrender these over into the blue zone, even though it's phase number 6, because there's just no path in. I mean, I don't even know if DK can get in, and they're still pretty close to the circle.
No, I agree. I mean, I think it's pretty much difficult for all these teams on this east side to cleanly get through. That's why Na'Vi has to turn their attention north. They have to try to create the points where they can. They know the position they're in the leaderboard. They know Falcons is still in the lobby, so they have to fight tooth and nail for every inch that they're going to be going further forward.
He's got it prepped. The way that Na'Vi are playing this slow, it is punishable. Not going to go for the first part of it, assuming somebody's coming after him. Park Pro's gone down. Looks like they're just trying to go for flushes. Do they know where Zongjong is? Nades starting to come up. Gedrox actually gets the knock on a Na'Vi. Follow-up nades coming up. Everybody's just getting demolished over here into the east. Genji survived for long enough to walk into the Falcons sight line.
Yep, and this is why Na'Vi had to go north, why they had to take these fights, because everything else is just dire. It's unbelievably difficult. And you can see why. Great nades, though, from Vitality, who's making a climb up the leaderboard up to 7th right now. Full sense sending it right underneath. But Pau might have an angle. No, not quite. Looking to try to get up there to find one. Tycon having to use smokes to give himself some leverage to get over to the top of this position.
Uh-oh. Circles popped, and it is abandoned that road that we were looking at just a second ago. VC in a lot of trouble now. Tycon, I think, is in the lower section. He's got to keep control with now this more aggressive Full Sense that you're talking about. Full Sense just couldn't find an angle onto Falcons, and that is a massive problem as finally Genji goes down. But big heart for those guys for staying alive in such a desperate situation. It is just Vitality, and I guess they're 5,000 dips that they've managed to have through explosions holding down the circle in the north. To the south, VC trying to get some control, but this is very open over here.
Yeah, it's quite the trench network that Vitality's been able to create over here. I'm sure some mortars earlier might have helped with that. More mortars I hear streaking through the air. But right now, Falcons have a tough decision to make. The great news for them, again, that BRDM's still there, so they can make the most of bad situations. Try to let some of these other teams fight. Try to thwart Full Sense from coming on this north side. Make them fight VC. Open up another opportunity to get into the circle.
They're all waiting right now for Vitality. They know where Vitality is. For Vitality to start having to take shots maybe at Full Sense or VC like we're talking about. If the Falcons' timing is great, they can use the BRDM to fight into the position that Vitality's been playing from, or they can go more of this Full Sense side, maybe take the fight with VC. Oh, but the positioning there just isn't good. Hello, my bad. Gets the knock onto Shrimsy. That's going to throw off all the timing. Denadol's also over here. He's going to try to get a piece, but nah, Levante says that's mine.
That was beautifully orchestrated by Vitality. Those grenades were right on the money. They took Shrimsy down quick before he could do anything about it. Tiggleton was just waiting in the back, and again, Falcons just not able to find the opportunity that they'd like to make a move in this circle. Finally, Full Sense going to be sending it in towards that western edge. Pau, Duckmai as well getting in there. Tycon keeping his eyes on towards the Full Sense members to keep them corralled.
Big blow-up opportunity for Full Sense if they can survive, but VC's just been on a climb and 13 kills and more counting. Oh, the Panzer doesn't quite connect. Levante trying to get the shots onto Gustav. He does manage to pick him up, and now Falcons nowhere to go. They just have to run right in between Full Sense and Vitality both. That is big for VC, who's got control of the south. Nades and everything just being thrown right out of Full Sense to keep some control on the angle, but Vitality now trying to leave their cubbies and on the hunt for Falcons.
Oh man, this is on a knife's edge for the Falcons. That BRDM is going to explode, so they're not going to have the safety of it to use anymore. Smokes are down to at least hopefully buy them a little bit more time. Tiggleton has the P90, so a pretty powerful gun to potentially fight your way out of this, but it's going to be tough to get it into play. It feels like Full Sense still clinging to life over on that western edge, but Levante doesn't want them to be there.
Here's the thing. Everything's coming up for VC in the best way possible right now. They've got control of the south. They've got a hillside to play from. Everybody's focused on the Falcons, and VC is just finding all of these kills. They're right back tied with Vitality right now, who are playing the northern section of the circle. We're in phase number 8. Circle control definitely favors Pau in his positioning for the time being, and the longer that Falcons stay alive over here, it's stalled out anything that Vitality can get going.
It's been a really nice hold here from VC. they've been able to crouch or encroach on some of the territory of Vitality. But again, that tucked in position of Vitality really annoying for all these teams to deal with. It's on top of a hill, which gives you so much ability to keep track of what's going on around you, put damage down, force the other teams to have to make moves out in the open or expend utility to try to create some space. You know, if they want to create some dips, you got to throw some frag grenades or something like that as well. And as a P90 or Tigger, and he gets tagged up just trying to go anywhere towards those bushes, towards some kind of safety.
Okay, Full Sense doesn't have any options to the north. Vitality's doing a good job on control over there. They know Falcons are still alive. So Full Sense keeps trying to wrap down into the southern area, but two players are already set up for BC, waiting to pounce. It's Tycon, Duck My doubled up, waiting for an opportunity to just absolutely demolish anybody that walks through that corridor. Falcons, they're just trapped. They can't go to the south. They can't run to the circle. They're just having to weather this and hold the best that they can. Tig's trying to creep out and find more, but you can see it's instantly punished. Now Molotovs galore just being dropped on top of him. And that is just one cooked Falcon with Tig having nowhere to go. Kickstart in a ton of trouble. Trying to say maybe he can get more out of it. At least finds one more point, putting it in touching distance of VP.
That was a hell of a grenade from Kick. He did a ton of damage with it. Fortunately able to get the point for Falcons. Desperately need everything they can get here. So now Kick to try to stay alive, but Levante not going to allow it. Has been an absolute menace. 816 damage in this one from Levante. 8 kills for Vitality.
Full Sense sandwich going on right now. Vitality to the north, VC pretty much in the center to the south. Full Sense right up against the blue zone. Exact same position that we saw Falcons trying to fight their way out of. They're going to go down. Now the real battle begins. Vitality, VC, so close on the leaderboard. 4th and 5th respectively. Just 2 points between. Vitality with the high ground. But again, circle control. Feels like it's VC on this side of the hill. Now utility coming out. And you got to play this one safe because it also feels like Vicious has been playing with a lot more control of territory. They probably have a lot more utility. But the shots trying to find something. Tycon goes down.
Yeah, this is a really nice push from Vitality. It kept players pinned. They're doing a nice job, but it's going to be a response here. Duck My down, one player spotted. This should be the end. This should be Team Vitality taking the win, and they do.
Massive for the club championship, massive for Vitality, and you can see massive for Levante and the crew. They are just hyped off of that one. This has been a come-up story for Vitality. EWC has just been great for them.
That we know that this team can pop off, and they showed it right there, really setting up a nice position for themselves in the middle of that game to lock down that hill and make it so difficult for the teams around them. You could see some frustration from the other players in there, feeling like maybe if one little thing had gone their way, but Vitality, the French org, has to be feeling great. You know, their fans loving it in the audience.
So much hinging off of what we can see going on with Vitality. Keep them in the club championships and their performances. Just, I mean, whenever, this is what I love about EWC. Whenever you see all these external factors coming up, it puts these extra little movements that we've got to see squads step in and find some really big moments for themselves. And you love to see it for a squad like Vitality. This is a squad that everybody loves. I don't know anybody that hates this squad.
No, and look at that. Levante giving some love to the fans there as well. This is a great little read here from Levante. Knows that Full Sense has to be pinned back there, and he's watching this bush. Nobody's moving, and he's like, they're probably just behind it. I'm just going to start spraying. He was looking for those little pixels out of place. Couldn't quite identify it. Didn't need to. Had the read.
Oh, and yeah, let's talk about, they got some circle of. No, they made a run to a position that was desperate, had to fight a squad that was already holding it, got control over it, then took control over all the territory around them. Falcons couldn't move. We saw Gen G having troubles. Everything that was going on the east, everything that was happening to the north and west was all due to Vitality. And so they controlled the circles, controlled the game, and just put themselves in a great point. Even whenever they were having to walk out of their controlled area that they had down into DC, the firing lines were just so good, and they were waiting. They knew where the enemy was.
Yeah, for sure. But it's a really nice job by Falcons holding on in that game.
But we also had a big game coming up from Vicious, finding a ton of kills inside this one. I think Barney's got us Vicious down on the stage.
Oh, here we go. We've got Tycon here joining us from the Vicious Esports. And to tell you what, that's how you turn a frown upside down coming into today, because Tycon, you were in 15th place with 19 points, you and your teammates, and now top 5 and you're fragging out. Why has it taken this long, from your perspective? Why has it taken this long to find your rhythm?
Hiện tại bây giờ đi đến ngày hôm nay á, đội tuyển mình bắt đầu ở hạng thứ 15 với 19 điểm. Thì hiện tại giờ trong những ván vừa rồi thì mình đã nhảy lên hẳn lên là top 5 luôn. Thì điều gì đã khiến cho cái việc là mình tìm ra được cái nhịp độ của mình lâu như vậy?
Đến với giải đấu lần này thì mục tiêu tụi em là top 24 nên là tụi em cứ bắn thoải mái nhất có thể, nhưng mà tụi em lỡ chưa được vòng chung kết rồi nên là tụi em vừa bắn vừa cười, nhưng hơn sao mà tụi em top 5.
So our goal coming to the event was just to chill out, at least that we can make top 24. But since we are here in the final already, so we're just chilling. And then somehow, when you're smiling and you're shooting, you made the top 5.
Okay, that's a fair response. I like that. Now, you joined this team in April, so it's barely been 4 months since you guys have formulated this team. How is it gelling together? What is it like playing alongside your teammates? What's the dynamic like?
Mình mới vừa gia nhập đội của mình mới từ tháng 4 thôi, thì mới được 4 tháng thôi. Thì hiện tại bây giờ là mình đã bắt đầu bắn với lại đội của mình như thế nào, cái mọi người giao tiếp với nhau như thế nào?
Giao tiếp thì tụi em vẫn giao tiếp như những đội khác thôi, chỉ có khác cái là tụi em thi đấu như những người anh em, những người đồng đội, không có một cái lối suy nghĩ cá nhân nào, nên là đó là lý do tại sao mà tụi em làm tốt đến như vậy.
So we just communicate like usual, but our mentality is that we are soldier. We're here together, so that's why we make such a great team.
Keep that imagination high and keep on smiling, because you guys seem to be smashing it. Well done. Thank you so much, Tycon. You guys are Vicious Esports, absolutely flying up the leaderboard in the past few games. Really impressive to see. We're going to have so much more PUBG action coming back right after this.
Everyone is playing, you're not yet. EWC Play is your all-in-one platform to compete in fantasy, pick'em, and quests for a grand total of $300,000 in prize pool. Build your dream fantasy team in 5 different games and track your score with live results tables. Predict the winner of every game, every group stage, and every tournament. Complete daily and weekly challenges to earn boosters that help you climb the global leaderboard. Got what it takes? Join EWC Play now.
All right, we're here at the EWC Parkour Challenge. Now it's time for the incline slab. Kelaris up to bat. Let's see what he's got in store for us on this one. All right, he's making his run. He's got up there. Oh, the arthritis fakie. He lands it. He's done it. He makes it. That is a huge win for Kelaris. Paper Thin here, bringing you another event from the EWC Parkour Challenge. Kelaris going to attempt to go for the Gamer Gear lift. Let's see what he's got going for us. He's coming in. Oh, the interesting. Oh, it's so heavy. It's too much for him. Can he pull it through? He's trying. Oh, okay. Just goes in. All right, we're back here, EWC Parkour Championship. One more event to go. Kelaris, can he pull off the old man army crawl? We're going to have to wait and see. He's going under. Pretty good, pretty good. He's rolling. Good technique, good form. Slides through. He's up. He's through. He's done it. He's got it. The EWC Parkour Championship. Done really well here, Kelaris. Kelaris, I want to get your thoughts. I know you're winded. That was a tough one. How did it go?
Oh, I needed to get some big points on this one, but I think I did enough. I just want to say thank you, Mama.
What do you got to say to your fans out there?
Everyone who believed in me. This is for you, man. This is for you.
He's done it. Emotional stuff here from Kelaris at EWC. What a performance. What a performance.
I believe in you, my Ginger Hulk, just like I believe these teams will be able to start catching up to VP, and it's happening, baby! Sorry, VP fans. But VP, with that donut, a lot of teams were able to step up. Vitality. But we're going to talk about the new Sony story of the day, which is none other than the Vicious being able to jump up all the way from 15th to, I believe they're currently in 6th place, or actually 4th place, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so you asked me earlier, how is it that you get into the mindset? How do you keep that mental strong? Just do whatever the hell Vicious did today. Honestly, coming in from 15th place with absolutely almost no points, and now making it all the way to the top 5 is truly a monumental day of play for those boys.
The Siren's call of $100,000 can do an awful lot, Godspeed, as they've managed to get themselves up there as they ground into 5th, looking good. Double-digit kills in backs-to-backsies is pretty impressive, because that means you're not just catching circles and getting lucky. It means you're putting the fire to the road. Now, I will also say a big one for me, as I said at the start of the day, it's not always about how well everyone else does. It's really about how badly VP does. You know what I mean? Like, they're the ones who could drop this ball. And I'm not saying it, yeah, it is kind of a bad day. 106, it's only 9
15 points on the day.
Is it 15?
Yep, 15 points on the day, sir.
Oh my gosh. So 15, I mean,
it's okay.
I thought they had 97, I'll be honest. So 15 points is better than I thought it was, but it's still less than 5 per game. It's not what you want, because they wanted to have that big lead going into tomorrow.
And I think another team, honestly, that we have to talk about on their rise is Geek, man.
Yeah,
they came swinging in those early hot drops when they initially had to fight AGAL. That probably built a hell of a lot of confidence. We saw that interview, and now they're continuing to build the success. It is honestly impressive what them and Vicious have done.
The thing for me is we often, and I think you're a proponent of this, is don't hot drop. It's almost never a good idea. Geek came in and proved to us that if you can find the person who allows you to just take points off,
you're going to win every time.
Exactly.
Sure, go for it.
You know, so that hubris, and it does this other benefit. I've noticed in PUBG that if you have a good fight early and you can kind of keep parlaying that as you move through the map, you tend to do better in the late game, because you're hot, you're warm, you feel good about yourself. Building confidence. So I do think the fact that they were tested themselves early and then made the push has actually been a huge help for them.
Yeah, I mean, I got to go back to the Vicious. For them to continue on this form, now we're starting to see a little baby VP from day one in the Vicious. If I'm being completely honest with everybody watching, with the Vicious, I'm hoping that this consistency continues on as we head into the last 2 matches. But we are expecting something out of VP here. 15 points is just not going to be cutting it for that squad, considering that they ended up getting 91 points yesterday.
Right, and you know, and it's one of those things, if it was any other team, I'd think to myself, I'd be like, that's why you can't pull the strikers. That's why you can't play defensively. But I don't think they are. I think they're just getting caught. And I think more importantly, everyone else knows how far ahead they are, and they're not letting them get away with it.
Yeah, and I mean, even teams like Vitality, right, who won our last game, coming in and able to control that Erangel circle and make sure that they were the last ones. I mean, their zone control from the north was very impressive, and Vitality is still going to do very well as long as they continue to quietly amass points. They haven't been necessarily very loud in their point gathering on the day, but they're still making that climb.
On the head-to-head that we had there, we actually ended up seeing the amount of kills that Vicious has. They have 36 VP. The only points they've been able to get, those 15 points, have been through kills. They need to start finding themselves a way to get into the later matches as well. But yeah, for the Vicious, 36, 47 points total today, and we still got 2 matches to go.
Can either of you tell me what happened to Myth?
Well, I mean, sometimes a myth is proved false. And so far, it seems like it's going that way today. I don't know. I do think there's maybe some headspace if they had a rough day yesterday, and we don't know what their bounce back potential is. We haven't seen them not out in front. This is our first time really getting to see that outside of what PGC. Again, we didn't have Jacob at that time, but they weren't able to pull it out. They underperformed, and so maybe that's it. Maybe when the pressure's on and they don't get a good foot forward, they have a hard time catching back up.
I mean, but they need to. They still have games. They still have tomorrow, regardless of how these last couple games go. Again, Smash may be the saving grace for a lot of these teams that are currently struggling. We still have yet to see, but so far the teams that have really kind of come up on the day have been Geek and Vicious. I mean, hands down.
And if we're talking about Myth, we have to mention T1. This team has been non-existent. This is actually the first time that we're mentioning throughout the day, because the team has not been able to do anything. And I hope that we get a chance to see the overall, just to showcase where the Vicious currently is, because they have just not been performing. We were talking about Heather. We were talking about superstars. Remember, when we were talking about superstars, they're currently nowhere to be found.
I mean, it's how they started yesterday. We thought, oh, this is it. They're going to go big time, right? And they aren't. They've slid off that first page. And you can see when we look at this right now that it is Virtus Pro in the top. But now Vicious has cracked up into that top 5 and is continuing to climb.
Yeah, and I think for T1, their biggest issues are starting to happen around the rotations. They're having issues settling into a spot where they can play, whereas we saw them successfully in the group stage, even the first day of the finals, even in that first game that they won, it was early positioning, early macro that got them there, and they're just having trouble finding their footing completely.
And we're looking at the overall now. Team Falcons has closed that gap to 13 points.
Yep.
It's happening, Falcon fans. For everybody that's putting Falcons there in the pick'ems is currently working. Make sure you do the pick'ems as well at home. But I mean, Navi has been able to perform well. They're starting to catch up in the Vicious main storyline. The Vicious actually has more kills than Vitality and Navi that are ahead.
Yeah, I mean, Vicious is in a position where, I mean, if they can do what we saw VP do yesterday and get even close to it, then they are back in the race. It's feasible. It could happen. It's crazy that it might, but I've never seen anybody play this hard for 2 games.
Yeah, and then another team as well to mention, there's Twisted.
Yep.
You know, they're generally a team that should be starting to get their stride now. The slow start thing, that we gave them enough games, they're still struggling to find their footing as well. And that's, again, this mid-game for a lot of these teams, for a lot of these rotations, now that a lot of teams are adapting, they're trying to go earlier in their macro, it's actually causing a bigger jam, which is why we're seeing teams like Twisted, why we're seeing teams like T1 start to struggle in that midfield game.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I think if you're other teams, you almost want to not mess with Falcons too much on that mid to late game pushes, because you want to sort of keep them chasing VP so that VP can't lock it out tomorrow when that smash rule goes into effect. Because if they get that smash rule effect, you said they'll just start targeting number 2. If they're ahead by 20 or 30, they're going to control the entire map, and the option to win just isn't there. So I do think if Falcons get close, it may shift that entire paradigm.
And that's what I was going to ask you, actually, because we were talking about this at the beginning of the day, too, when it came down to what VP was going to be doing. If they did end up the day with the huge lead, there was rumors that they were just going to maybe end up gatekeeping that second place. But right now, with the way that the leaderboard's looking into this next 2 matches, they need to make sure they widen out that gap even more. They cannot allow themselves to have more donuts. If not, we're going to have a different first place going into tomorrow.
Yeah, and it's hard to say that, like, why VP is like, I don't feel like they're necessarily getting targeted specifically, right?
They're not.
These are things that are just happening in rotation, happening naturally as the other teams are starting to adapt. And we talked about it. That's what happens when a lot of teams have now focused their attention to you. Not consciously is like, hey, we're going to go after them, but hey, we should be aware that VP might rotate by us. Hey, VP likes to come here. Hey, VP did this yesterday, right? Those things make it very difficult for a team once you're once you're in the lead to keep that lead. We always say it's very easy to take the lead. It's almost not impossible, but it's very difficult to keep that lead over the course of 18 or as many games as we have.
It's just the way PUBG works, man. If you think about it, if Full Sense had been able to hold VP on the line 2 games ago, that difference would be like 8 points right now. So it is one of those things, you never know what's going to happen, and that's why you got to do what the Falcons did. Come out, play hard, put your best foot forward, and never say never. And that's all about PUBG, because we came in today thinking, oh my gosh, Seven, this might be really boring, it might be over, but it's not, because that's the way the cookie crumbles. That's the way the parachute opens.
You told me PUBG Battlegrounds at EWC 26 is going to deliver, and honestly, day 2 finals so far is definitely delivering. And talking about money as well for the viewers, when the Vicious started the day, if for some reason, let's say they ended up the tournament in 15th place, they would have gotten $21,000. Now they have pushed themselves up to 4th place, $134,000.
But that's the thing, and that's also why this event is so amazing, because yes, first place is awesome, but every single placement is a significant bump in the prize pool.
Well, let's see who else is going to be moving up. I was expecting 17 Gaming to deliver. That's a squad that is currently just not delivering. And as we're getting ready here to the 5th game, not the final game just yet, we still got 2 more before we end up finding out what the threshold is going to be for the Smash Zone tomorrow. And for the Smash Roll, I believe we have an interview.
10 games down here at the Esports World Cup, and we have got ourselves with Latch K from T1. So my first question, or my only question, is how do they think the 10 games have gone so far, as well as the team's performance as a whole?
이제 10경기 정도 남으셨는데 지금까지 T1의 지금 퍼포먼스와 그리고 앞으로 이제 T1의 좀 개선점은 어떨지 궁금합니다.
일단 조금씩 저희 팀이 준비한 거를 좀 실수들이 많이 나오고 있어서 좀 제대로 해내지 못하고 있는데, 이제 조금 아직 남은 라운드가 좀 많기 때문에 이것만 저희가 실수 보완하고 원래 하던 대로 하면은 충분히 다시 공격적이고 잘 해가지고 잘할 수 있을 것 같습니다.
Yeah, we showed a lot of initial mistakes in the process, so we didn't show what we have prepared. So that being said, we'll have to fix our mistakes during the later games, and then we'll show our games and we have what we have prepared for.
All right, well, thank you very much, Kansamnida. I'd say you can take off now as we bring on the Tab to talk about Twisted Minds, even, I should say, to get things going. So, Tab, obviously, for Twisted Minds at the moment, kind of doing all right here today, I think it's fair to say. But overall, across these 10 games, what's it been like for Twisted Minds and your thoughts on it?
So yesterday was pretty shaky. Like, we saw that there is a lot of situation with individual mistakes, and also for today it's like more positive. But overall, we had the good zones and strange situations, and Battlegrounds will always decide like who will winner, who will like not win. So yeah, but we are confident on today. Like, there is gonna be 2 more games, so we'll see what's gonna be. And yeah, we are ready to win.
Thank you very much, Tab. You can take off now as we bring on our last member here, as we're going to talk to Alrain from Na'Vi, who's put up a pretty damn good performance at the moment. I think maybe you're in 4th place after that Vitality victory, but after 10 games now, how are the Na'Vi boys feeling? How are you feeling about these games?
We are pretty lucky with the circles, to be honest, and we're trying to make the most out of it. And so far, it's around 70 to 80% of the performance we could have had. So we keep working, and I hope the circles will be on our favorite furthermore.
Thank you very much, Alrain. Good luck in the next games.
Love the rapid fire coach intersections that we get there, just to kind of get a breakdown of everything that's happening inside the round. But we've got 2 games left on the day, and it's all about setting pace when we look at it. Yes, okay, we have Falcons that's starting to catch up, closing the gap slowly, steadily against Virtus Pro, but also everybody else trying to claw back in, seeing if they can get close enough to Falcons to give themselves a position to strike it first tomorrow.
Yeah, it's been a moving day for a lot of these teams, and one of the teams that I'd really like to highlight is the Vicious Esports. They put up 47 points already today. I mean, they are having a really, really good day. Like, if they keep that up here, get themselves into kind of competition for one of those top 3 spots, potentially even, anything is possible with the way that they have been playing. And it's time to Tago, Matt. We are ready for map 5 on the day.
I mean, you nailed it. I was wondering where my boy Tycon was at, and finally he's coming back alive over there. So playing bounce over next to Oyang, going to end up around Owen Sauce, so it should be pretty okay. Everything going to be on the table.
There's a chicken on screen. I had to make chicken noise.
No, don't you start doing that looty thing. Don't you do it.
Oh, sorry. He's gotten into my brain. It's his fault.
It's all Ludi's
You gotta blame
fault.
him. Yeah. Sorry, Barney.
I blame Barney.
Yeah.
It's always easier to blame Barney. Like, blaming Ludi just makes you feel bad because he'll look at you with sad eyes.
I know. And Barney is just like, well.
Barney just lets it roll up shoulders. Like, yeah, whatever, mate.
Exactly. Yeah, he's like, okay, dude. All right. Pretty fair plane path, kind of down to the southwest side. It's going to make it a little bit of a stretch to get up to like Yongchun. So that does cut out a little bit of where T1 would normally probably like to drop. So Hapo going to be over towards the west, and everybody else kind of in fair play for most of the map. You know, Falcon's going to have to drive for a bit to get to the airport. But everything else right around where they normally would want to go. It's going to be school area for Shadow. And that's about where the circle ends up. It's sending itself south again.
Big for Na'Vi. Look at that. Prime position, whatever they want to play from. Already got a center control position if they want to go around that. Remember the squad that's just continuing to try to catch up to Falcons. Falcons going to have to much later rotate going for that airport and then having to work their way back in. Yes, the east is going to be easy for Falcons to kind of navigate, but there are a couple of hillsides whenever we look into like the northwest of Oyang, where Myth is presently playing and Buksansa is, that kind of create some problems in rotating into a circle like this specifically.
No, you're right. It can be really kind of tricky in some of those paths that teams are going to want to take. Gustav showing off a little bit for us.
Yeah.
Love it. Get some air, my friend. Give us some of those bike moves, if you will.
Can we talk for a second? Because Falcons has an IGL changeup, right?
Yeah.
With Gustav. And Gustav now having to play catch-up and make calls and everything else like that against VP, who played so dominant yesterday. There's a lot of mental effort that goes into it. I know Gustav's a great player. I know he's been around for a long time. But that's a big burden to suddenly throw on somebody's shoulders, and it feels like it's working right now because he is managing to work with Gunnar and the rest of the crew and close that gap.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I think, you know, Kick really gave a candid interview. You know,
most
the other
mature
day.
interview I've ever seen in
Yeah, he's just
esports.
like,
I
look,
loved it.
I don't take feedback well, so it's just not really working out in this current iteration. So makes more sense to have Gustav, who likes to play that aggressive edge game. You've got the talent on this Falcons team for it. If you could create those edge scenarios for yourself too, it also tees up stuff like Tig's mortars, things like that all kind of coalesce into these big games.
And re-unlocks Kickstart and his firing capabilities. Like, we saw a clutch capability coming up from Big yesterday, keeping themselves inside of all of this. So I know that everybody wants to know what's going on.
Don't land on the roof. Oh my God.
Flip it.
Oh my God.
No. You see Xiao Wu just stare at it. He just stops and he's like, you are kidding me.
So you have to be careful with these. This is let it know.
It's allowed, Xiao Wu.
This is take it out. Yeah, take out your anger on it. But this is why you actually have to be really careful with these care packages, is because if you don't call them in like with a little bit of difference, because they don't just come right underneath where the flare goes. It has a radius of about 20 to 30 meters, I want to say, that it's going to land in. So you have to be really careful with where you shoot it up at, because things like that happen.
I think that's more unlucky than if it had landed on the roof. Maybe if you like landed on the roof, you can figure out some weird thing to do.
Yeah, you can get up there. Like, you can get another vehicle and like get your way up there if there's a it depends on the building, of course, but there's ways to get on a roof. Like, there's always a way, even a motorcycle, vault or something like that. But this for Huang F, if he hits this shot, he's not going to look at it in the right direction. I was really hoping that he was going to go for the Kar98 banger.
I mean, Gem's got a great position in the circle, playing to the northwest of Song looking into position on Navi other side. This is why we saw Shadow kind of roaming around. Good start. I mean, squad with Shadow, I was super excited when they qualified. Setsuna and the crew, I mean, love them, but this is definitely more of a learning experience. They did get their victory yesterday.
Yeah.
So there is still some more on the table, and it's not like they're entirely out of it. They're still in that pack that 10-ish points could work for them and put them back in the middle of a lot of this. But yeah, I just love, you can tell the hands come off the keyboard the moment he kind of sees it for like, what?
We've all been there, right? Where just something happens where you just can't help but stare. Delwood getting punished. It's a little bit of a tap spray. He takes himself out in the end, but now there's another fight going on here right now. Heather getting the work done. He's getting tagged up, though, by Himas at range. Is going to be able to get back to the safety of that US, but the feet are sticking out. It's another headshot. Destroy driving by. Takes down Heather with a little help from Himas.
Just on the hunt right now. T1 rolling right through AGAL, kind of saving Shadow, who was in a really desperate situation. Jexy's still kind of in a bad spot, and he also has Himas right on top of him. T1 tries to just retaliate into a really weird spot against Sololzi. Sololzi's just going to try to cut it across. Jexy's just going to thank everybody for the work. AGAL is eliminated, and Shadow's just thanking their lucky stars in that one.
Yeah, and the reason that T1 is so keen on committing to this like wagon fight with the cars is because they want to try to get those blue chips potentially as well, but maybe the safety not going to be there. I'm not sure if they were able to scoop them up or not. They might have had just enough time to, since other members of AGAL were fighting Shadow. Meanwhile, Geeke, we see that they are no strangers to fighting today. EJ tags a little bit of damage into Clories here just to send him away.
So as we're talking about the club championships with you guys, one of the things that you need to know is that means that there is more money on the table for the organization to kind of feed the entirety of the ecosystem for their team and their organization itself. That means that some squads that are in the hunt might play a bit more aggressive than normal. One of those that I've got my eye on right now is Vitality, who's kind of rolled into position, forcing Gam to play away from this angle that they've been kind of holding. I mean, Gam already kind of planned to surrender at this point, but whenever we talk about squads such as Navi, Vitality, that are really just trying to find some more out of this to see if they can catch up, VP on their climb, of course, Falcons as well, that means that they have to be a little bit more, I guess, on edge and really just trying to fight for that extra little bit in all these firefights, especially whenever you've got Vitality and Navi just 1 point separated from each other right now.
Exactly. And, there's still a lot of games to be played, frankly. I know we only have 2 more here today, and then at the end of the day, we add 10 to whoever the top scorer is for points, whether that be VP or whoever. And then that's the threshold for tomorrow. Now there's a grenade right towards Setsuna. Doesn't take much from that. Only 6 damage going to clock into him.
Here, let's go ahead and break it down for you guys using just fake-ish math. Let's say that this was the last game and it was done. VP's at 106. That means that tomorrow, in order to win in the Smash Cup, you'd have to break 116 points
and then
get a win. It cannot happen in the same game. So let's say VP gets 12 kills inside, like 12 kills or something else like that in game number 1. They are now eligible to win. But if they got, let's say, 2 kills and a victory with 10 points in the first game, VP still has to play another game because you have to get the chicken dinner after breaking the threshold on points in the previous game.
Yeah, I like the way you said that. Eligible to win, I think, is a good way to describe that. And that's kind of what tomorrow is going to be all about. And then, of course, if we play 6 games tomorrow, and it just then comes down to whoever's at the top of the leaderboard if nobody can hit that winning threshold.
And that's why we keep talking about the win threshold capabilities, is because if Falcons are just 13 points behind, they're technically 23 points now behind the threshold to be able to get that chicken dinner. So the more Falcons can close the gap, the more everybody else can kind of sneak in. And that's why VP is getting, I like how the desk said, not necessarily focused, but just a lot of people that did their research and know where there's an opportunity to kind of stall out VP.
Yeah, and speaking of VP, they have a tough circle ahead of them here, Matt. There's not a lot of great options initially, but they've been so good at finding, opportunities where it doesn't necessarily look like there are some. Now, they're going to be under fire from 17 as they make their transition over to the west side, but they do have teams like Liquid, Gen G. They're going to be cutting ahead of them. You got a lot of teams rotating in from the south, including Falcons, who are just now trying to cut their way down to find some space. But look at this, BC getting really close to the Falcons.
T1 did get their players back. Gen G has spotted them, I think, in the skies. Could be chasing them down. Now it's all about setups. VP ready and raring to go. There is a red zone that is in the center of the circle, and that could be impactful. It's just kind of creating a couple more dips before all the mortar fire lands down in there to give you something to, I guess, initially start building from.
Yeah, no, for sure. And you can see VP doesn't like that initial angle, so they're going to try a different direction. That's a Panzer, and that's a dead player. Sung jumped down, but a Khan there to trade.
Okay, play it. Reset the timings on it. Oh my God! Khan has to dodge the car of his own teammate, just rolling right through next to Vitality. Gedrox sees it all, but it's another Panzer Faust and a nade right on top of him. He's going to go down.
That was his own grenade.
Oh no! Is he going to take himself down there? Is he getting away? Barely manages to creep away from it.
That was his own grenade. It just bounced funny off of that pole or something. That is brutal for Vitality. Now, Hello My Bad has come in here and done some damage, but took down another teammate with it. This fight very chaotic.
He's put himself in the crossfire. He runs right into this point. They're trying to figure out where that last one is, but PC's already moving into a backstab position onto this, realizing how everything's set up on the leaderboard. So Vitality down to 2, and when we watch what's happening in this with DK, they're in trouble just down to 1, and VC just sees points in front of them and wants so much more.
Oh, they were just being active on the map here, looking for opportunities, looking for moments where other teams are going to bump into each other, and they have found a beauty. Tycon going to load up with the grenade. It's going to be well short. Hello My Bad already left that building, gets in a vehicle and says, okay, I think maybe this fight might no longer be valid.
Vitality could get the blue chips and maybe cut over to the west, get to school, go for a res over there. T1's playing around that position, and Simon just denies it. Great shot coming out from the Panzer, and that was just, that's all you heard before he went down. So Vitality, this is now a big problem. Where does Hello My Bad go? He's the last one up. VC, man, just dominant the way they're playing right now. These guys got goals.
Fearless, dude. They are just completely fearless right now. They are just going to take every fight. They are just on one today, and they know it. So they are going to claim even more points, and it must feel great that it's Vitality, one of the teams that is just ahead of you on the leaderboard, only 6 points behind them now.
I'm kind of curious how far away that Simon took that shot from, because it looks like he was pretty separated away from that firefight. That had to be a pretty tight angle to hit on, but I don't know. We'll have to see. Maybe catch something later on. T1 making their wrap in down to the south. Going to be next to GAM. VC is going to have to kind of come along the same corridor, but they've been jockeying up against GAM for a while. Mit's got that high ground, but they're looking down into that 2-2 split coming up from Na'Vi. Falcons doesn't like it over into the east, so they're going to wrap more over to the north. And guess who that puts them up against? Rotating VP is that hillside that they're looking at. Could be pretty strong looking down into Hosan.
Yeah, you can see that both of our best teams in the lobby have similar ideas in this circle. It's a lot of rotations around the edge, just looking for enough space where they can kind of set up shop. Don't give yourself over. Look at this narrow angle through the door, up on the roof. Not super far, but far enough that it's a little tricky to get it through that door. And Simon T absolutely gets it nailed down to a T. It's going to be Team Liquid. Ooh, it's a A little bit of damage there, and it's actually VP. They've got an angle down this road. He's got to get out.
I mean, Hosan's about to pop off. Just too many people having angles on everything, and Team Liquid realizes it. 17's going to be more to the east, and no clean sight lines yet. Gen G, friends from the previous game that they kind of were trying to, I guess Gen G was trying to hold out Team Liquid in the rotate. VP now gets control over the north. They've got plenty of space that they can play around this one. Curious to see where they go, as it is going to be Team Liquid having control around the res beacon. And other reses that could be happening, it looks like Shadows Kamal's did manage to make it over and get a res for his friends.
All right. I'm kind of curious about what Gen G wants to do with this. They are extremely fanned out on that western edge, have quite a bit of control. I'm very impressed that T1 has managed to get into some level of safety given the early game struggles that they had. A little bit of exchange of utility there for Kickstart, and Tig is going to use this glider to go up in the air, get some info, try to figure out where Falcons can go. They have safety in this next circle. It's the circle beyond that they're starting to think about already.
Gas it up a bit. Gam is got vision close range onto Jacob for Myth. They decided to go up the hillside. It's going to be a nice Tanbu hold. Oh. Just gets two. Myth, where are you even going to go from here? There's Gam all around both sides of this. Is Tanbu, man. This guy is so good.
He's cracked. I mean, for a while, he was the best player in the world. The other year, he was incredible. So definitely know that once he gets his kind of footing underneath him, he is a force to be reckoned with in and of himself. And Clories, Wong F, no slouches either. They're trying to wrap behind Myth. Now, Myth has a player in the blue. Baron doing some good damage.
Yeah, but Baron's now trapped. It's just full-on chase down to make sure they take him. It's going to be Duck Juice that gets the knock. Scappy's now trapped out in the blue and near on nowhere to go. I mean, the focus of the circle is we're kind of watching it. Scappy's watching it. Oh, there you go. Baron, make it a little bit painful for him. Slow him down a bit, but that does open up some more maneuverability for Na'Vi to reset. It does look like Na'Vi's going to regroup to see if they can pounce on this, but just couldn't get there in time.
Yeah, it's a good thing Duck Juice didn't need that helmet. His helmet is completely fresh, so had to take it off of his opponent there. Scappy going to just try to rat things out a bit, get some extra points. Na'Vi hovering around the revival station. There's a lot of area that they can try to work into. Full Sense is sitting in a compound that's probably starting to look a little bit juicy for the side of Na'Vi.
Well, it's not even the compound. It's the hillside where we see the other three players from, for me. That is a strong point inside the circle that they're going to be trying to keep control over. And whenever we see so many teams that can't really play over into the east and nobody wanting to make a commitment in that area around Hosan, I mean, this is going to be really hard for Full Sense to try to defend, as the closest threat to them is VC. VC might decide they want that high ground.
I think Full Sense might not be reading that compound is going to be really juicy, and I hope that Tanadol has a good escape plan as we take a look at the just absolute chaos going on here, as I'm pretty sure this grenade just bounces off something inside of that awning. Yeah, he hits the very top of it there, right onto himself. Unfortunate for Gedrox.
But VP and the team are fighting right now.
Yeah, they're down in the bottom.
Tian down, but it looks like VP in some trouble. Two players already down and flushed for the VP side of it. Blue Zone Nate's going to be on top of him. This is a nice hold coming up for 17. And right on the edge of the zone, Team Liquid really can't get a piece of this just due to how Hosan is set. And VP finally gets actually a little bit of a counter knock going on over here, as it looks like Corexi's trying to creep their way forward, but where do you go, man? It's just full defended, and he just got so little information. Now, Falcon's wrapping back behind all of this. If they realize it is going to be VP, they might opt into crashing this.
Yeah, well, they've got a mortar lined up there as well. Lil Ghost takes down his teammate with the grenade. Corexy, though, has a Panzer. If Lil Ghost pushes this corner, he's going to be in a world of hurt, potentially. We'll have to see if he can bounce that grenade. It does do some damage. He gets the Panzer baited out. Now Corexy thinking about a frag of his own, cooks it pretty well. Lil Ghost going to shimmy over to the side, but out in the open, he's down and dusted. Corexy with the ace.
Just 1v1, finding a Jiawu on the other side, though. That's a much harder 1v1, and Jiawu is going to take it. Corexy just pulled in too many different directions. VP down, just 2 kills. Falcons finds another opportunity, but they can't find the circle.
So what are they going to do? Are they going to try to claim some of these 17 players' lives, or just maybe use a little bit of these hills and defilades that are created by the fields over on this southeast corner of Hosan? Yeah, that's what I was looking at, that crash. And Tanadol did have an escape valve, so that's A-okay. Meanwhile, Tambu did scoop up a Lynx. That's exciting, but this here by Falcons, a very important move to try to barricade out 17 as they pick up their pieces and try to hold out the other teams potentially. We'll see.
Team Liquid is pretty much spattered all across what we look at Hosan. They're down up over into the north with Luke 12, but that's opened up Vitality, have a path, get right in between all of them. New circle pops, and it goes off of Hosan onto the hillside that Full Sense and VC has control over. So VC, who's been on an absolute rampage, now has a great position to play in the circle, and everybody has to come to them.
Yeah. Vitality's gone. That's unfortunate. After the last game, it feels bad, man.
I mean, it's Navi's in a little bit of a weakened position back behind them, but VC just finding more and more, just 7 points to try to catch up to Vitality. Remember, we look at this, that it's mostly going to be Vitality and Navi vying for that top position on Champions. So if anybody can kind of intersect and steal a couple of positions right in between them, it'll even make it dicier as we look at the overall championship.
And everybody's probably pretty happy right now that VP, once again, low kill counts, low points. Falcons not able to find much just yet. They can't get anything off of 17, who now tries to make their way into the circle. Xiaowu just barely with 20 HP going to get there. Falcons trying to circumnavigate Twisted Minds, but Twisted Minds really spread out, and Gustav goes down. That's actually Hakatori from range.
There's nowhere to go. It's Twisted on defense on this one side of it. Navi's got that compound for control. Gam's also encroaching back behind all of this, but Falcons is trapped in the most open section of this circle. And they've realized, okay, fine, just cut through. They've just got to run right by. Navi's taking shots one side of them. This hillside could provide some safety, but you can see Full Sense has got vision on top of it. Trimsy's going pretty deep into it, and that's going to put him right next to VC. He's got to turn that back around. They will not like him being that close range. Can he get any knocks? No, it is going to be actually Lou that gets the shot onto him.
Let's see who's going to get the point. It's going to be Tycon from VC. Up to 5 kills now in this game. They are continuing their path of destruction, their reign of terror on day 2 of EWC PUBG Battlegrounds. Kickstart, you got anything left here for us, my friend?
If anything, they just need to find somewhere to hide and hunker down, because this is looking like this could be a decent game for Navi and VC both. Navi's got control over the east, while Gam and Full Sense are just on top of each other. Down to the south, we also do have Shadow and T1, with Gam also involved in that. To the north, we still have Team Liquid that's pushing pretty close to Twisted's positioning. So VC is just comfy in the center of the circle, and everybody else is just scrapping on top of each other.
Yeah, this is pretty quiet in the center. Oh, man. The mortar is coming really. Close to kick there. Also opened up some of that terrain in front of him, so it makes it even trickier. They're still coming up short, though, but he's taking damage from behind. Finally, it's going to be Tigger from Full Sense who's going to get him down.
Just had to get out of the divots because he was afraid of it, and that's the real thing. They had to step out of that angle, and that just opened it up for somebody else. Myth now also going to finally get eliminated. Twisted Minds just raining mortars over the hillside on anything that moves over there. Navi is going to be kind of moving up the hillside on their own down in the southeast, kind of backfilling where we saw Gam playing from a moment ago. Is Jim G also kind of coming over here to hang out?
Now I'm wondering if we're starting to create a little bit of a trench network, potentially. His kick already dead in that spot. Meanwhile, Gam dusting up with Shadow. Shadow's been able to get a little bit of value here. But not a ton. 5 kills still puts them at the bottom of the leaderboard. Mortar's raining in towards Clory's direction, but has the safety of a shack, so he will not be in danger to those necessarily. Genji now beginning to make their rotate down to the southern side. I like what Soul's doing. He's found this open space. He's been hearing this fight go on.
I'm scared. I see Bean on a mortar. Looks like he might be kind of dialed into the area where Jixie is going to be at. I don't know. Maybe he also keeps kind of glancing over to where Navi's going to be playing from. Full Sense has been pretty quiet on the top of this hillside. They haven't had to get too involved, and it feels like every peak that they go for gets punished. I think that they're trying to play this as quiet as possible because they don't want to deal with any mortars. This is a very mortarable position, and they know it.
Now they're just looking for an opportunity Bean hits
the loot.
The mortar?
Salute moved into the circle.
And hit him.
And it hit him. So, there had to be a miscommunication happening there, as that seemed like that was very well planned in advance.
Yeah, that's very odd. It just maybe a wrong dial in, and now things getting worse. There was a grenade in hand for Soul there. Almost goes down to it. Half into the knocked state for him. Hakatori is about to knock on the other side. Bean, you got to load your gun there, my friend.
What is
going on right now?
Gen G, this is a cacophony of errors that is just, I don't know.
Not sure.
Not my Gen G. That's all I'll say is Bean still keeping some defense at distance. It looks like they're resetting and getting Salute back up. Soul might be resable as well, as it's going to be Gam going for a res. Pretty close to that position. Jexy doesn't want to get involved in anything, but Navi, with very little places to go, are getting closer and closer to that position. And this is not where Gen G wanted to play. They're now stuck back on the edge yet again instead of getting that more centered position.
I mean, they might be able to get all their reses through, though. Gen G gonna have to hold off Gam. Gam finding an opportunity, but they're getting struck from behind. They're going to keep tunneling in towards Gen G. Want to make sure that Soul is flush. Seen him down for quite a while. They're pushing through, and Salute's not ready for it. Corey's then going to run through the vehicle, just expecting more players from Gen G to be there, but they are not. Tanvu up to 5 kills as well.
They've got a friend very close in Gen G on top of all of this. Navi's going to use the opportunity to see if they can try to get up next to Full Sense yet again. But no, it's going to be a nice hold coming up from Belmoth. Gets down a quick flush onto Hakatori. Navi doesn't have too many more options, though. They've just got to try to push for something over here, and that's going to be right into the waiting arms of Full Sense. Very defended. V's just going to falter as well, as everybody at the top of the leaderboard starting to find problems except for VC, and it's all the guys at the bottom on the hunt getting down dirty and finding points.
Yeah, VC looking at this game as an opportunity to slingshot up into third place. Potentially, they can get some more points. They can get deep into it, which they certainly are in a prime position to do so. Jexy able to sidestep those blue zones rather easily. Gam, and they're having a nice little game for themselves. They've shot up 10 kills in this one, but then Jexy, what a timing there, gets Tanvu down. One more to go, but it's Belmoth from behind.
Just doing a perfect peak timing on to Tanvu of all people is just, that's something to be proud of. Glory is now kind of stuck over here. He's got Bean one side of him, Full Sense still on their high ground control. Team Liquid going to be the squads trying to assault in BC's positioning. They've been holding down for so long. Simon manages to cook it perfectly, drop it right on top. Purdy Curdy. Team Liquid's got to be careful because the other side is still Twisted Minds. And I mean, Liquid is just stuck here, man. There is nowhere to go. They can't move an inch into this circle.
No, I mean, I think as Liquid, you might just have to try to find a different fight because BC is in the zone right now. Like, they are untouchable with the way that they're playing, the way that they are in the flow state. So maybe it's a chance to try to punish Twisted Minds around the edge of this hill. What a grenade from the two ends!
Perfectly cooked. Rolls it right down into the face of Team Liquid. This is what we're talking about. There's nowhere to go. Twisted's got the high ground. They're going to wrap back behind this. Luke at least gets a counter knock on Cthulhu's. He's got to deal with Lou low ground back behind him. Lou's just trying to wait out smokes. Example runs up the hillside. Too many different ways to make it. Twisted manages to get it, but now they've got to walk into the circle. VC already counter moving to wait it out. Wait for them to crest the hillside and take the firefight.
But as soon as they went out there, they actually spotted Bean and kind of turned around and started shooting at him. Full Sense trying to capitalize on the chaos in this situation by moving a little bit further forward into the center of the circle, but also keeping Gam under pressure, making sure that they can't do anything further, and they will successfully do so with a little bit of help from Bean.
Full Sense high ground, BC low ground in the dips, Twisted to the north, now having to figure out how they're going to get in. And I don't know. Even if you get into the circle, kind of, you have to deal with close range VC, and Full Sense is going to have so much vision. You can see Lou's just trying to see if he can get a knock onto Full Sense, and it's just not working. All the bullets just going right over as VC is fighting in the shade of all the bullets flying over their heads.
It is kind of a mess for sure. So we'll just have to wait and see now. Things calm down for a brief little moment. I think there's enough on the edge of this circle that Twisted Minds can stay safe unless VC wants to make that move. Yeah, there's enough of this hill left that they're fine for now. Please tell me that is a C4 on it. It does not. I don't hear any ticking. I wish it did because it would have been so perfect.
Simon?
That almost ran him over. That would have been incredible too.
That was the real plan, right? It wasn't the fact that there was a little bit more hill there than anybody was expecting. It was all to go after Simon, make him think it was a C4 so they'd all jump out of position and can shoot.
If only that had been a C4. It would have been so good. But it's still pretty funny. Simon has the safety of that dip. As Example should know, considering what we saw earlier in this event, that it's kind of hard to run people over inside of those things.
Yeah.
So, full sense, a pretty solid game here. Again, teams making moves all over the place today. I mean, look at this. From 9th to 16th, Matt, it's 9 points.
This is just neck and neck here at the bottom of it. And whenever we see VP and Pelicans going out a little bit early, not finding a lot, Twisted trying to really rally their games back together. Example is going to go down. But I mean, Twisted, there was so few options, nowhere to really go. Full Sense is taking control over every section of the circle that BC does not. And there is just nothing that Twisted can do. They tried to fight their way in, but what are you going to do? It was 8v3.
Get Tigger here, making a crazy aggressive move. They know that they've got VC on the ropes. They are losing players left and right. There's only one still standing. I believe it is Duckmai over there, trying to just see if he can find some way to get something done. We'll get the first. If he can get another, then I'm a believer.
He's already revealed in position. They're running right up into his face. Got to be careful. High side of this one's going to be Flash. Duckmai just trying to use a little bit of the divot. Is it enough? Doesn't have enough time after the reload. He's going to go down. And Full Sense are going to find themselves a match victory and push themselves further up the leaderboard.
Oh, they're shooting up the leaderboard. That is an incredible game for them. A fair amount of kills, managing their space really nicely on that southeast side. Doing a great job just letting all the other teams fight around them, trying to find their kills here or there where they could. Had a great maneuver when they were ready for Na'Vi to crash into the compound that they had to abandon in the mid game. That's a really solid effort from our defending PGC champions.
Still for me, though, Vicious finding more yet again. Late stages. These guys are just unrelenting right now. We still got one more game to go, and it feels like Vicious is just going to be in the middle of that end game over and over again.
Oh, I love it, dude. It's just so great to have some of the teams from APAC really starting to step up as we get into the second half of our finals. They're doing a really nice job finding their moments, getting into the wins, getting that confidence. That's the biggest thing.
So eyes on, pretty much. Does VP have a big game? Can they finally get the distance that they're so desperately hoping for? Can Falcons also find something to catch up with VP? They've been slowly inching their way up there, but they just can't get the big explosive game to put them right back in the thick next to VP and make this pretty much a two-horse race. Instead, it's everybody else that was in 4th, 5th, everything else like that that's creeping up and now trying to get a piece of both of them.
Yeah, it's a great question, Matt, and we only have one more game today to find out the answer, to see if either or one of those two teams can kind of solidify more distance, or if this kind of upper half tier of the lobby is going to keep catching up. These teams from 8th to 3rd really starting to make their moves, starting to get their groove. Let's see.
You mentioned it. It's just so neck and neck there. Just a couple of kills one way or the other. A couple of placement points can really dictate tons of money right now. I mean, we can talk about club championships and everything like that, but there is just so much whenever money on the table right now, and with it being so close, moving in with some type of momentum tomorrow is going to be so important. Let's get this last game of the day ready to go.
Thinks he can come in here and play my game. No, he knows nothing.
Either one, you're done.
Hey everybody, Poor Source here, and I am here to talk to a couple of members from Virtus Pro to figure out what the best strategies to survive if you found yourself in a PUBG type situation. Well, we had some fans that gave answers, and we're going to rank those answers based on how well these guys think they would work. So let's start off with this. Tactical pack plus tons of first aid kits, EMT, hide and do fast heals in the blue until zone endgame. Blue zone until end game.
Let me read it again.
Go ahead.
This would not work.
Not anymore.
Because it doesn't work outside the zone.
Exactly. EMT
So not effective whatsoever. You'll put that all the way at the bottom. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I like this one. Find some adrenaline and pills and then hope for a glider.
Ooh.
Just
I don't want to pilot, low-key. If he's a good pilot, it could be better.
So, I mean, you
maybe a B tier. Yeah, I think B tier is okay. Yeah.
We like it.
I just hope you don't find Tiggleton's. He's gonna down.
All right. I'd be prone and not moving unless the blue zone was tickling my feet.
That's a good strat.
I feel like
it's all about surviving. I think it's
I've seen a certain somebody be very successful using that strat in the past.
A, no? Yeah, I would say glider. Yeah.
We put that above glider. I like it.
Yeah.
I'm just hiding until the very end. Lol. I'm playing foe the win.
Okay, now we need to be strategic, though.
Yeah, now you're running out of slots.
Can we move around?
No. You're stuck.
I mean, we have to put C now. Put a C and then we figure out what next is. Yeah. Not a bad tech.
It's not the worst, though.
Yeah, it's not the worst.
They're not as good as glider. Golden pickaxe equipped. Left click, left click, left click, left click.
That's it. Get digging. Get digging.
Just get digging. Yeah. Hide the leg in.
Put it in the middle.
Bunga. That's actually the first time we've seen that at S tier. Okay. Last one. Dropping school and dying within 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah. Pretty good. Yeah, I think that's fine. Yeah. This might be the best tier list made to humanity.
Honestly, I feel pretty good about this.
Yeah.
I feel like this might be one of our better ones. Well, there you go. Guys, if you find yourself in a PUBG type situation, follow this tier list provided by the gentlemen of Virtus Pro, and you will be sure to come out ahead.
That S tier, the golden pickaxe. I don't think, Toffees, we have seen one yet. Yeah, I can't remember.
We've seen many fine pickaxes, but none that are made of gold. I will say, you talked about how Nixie likes to grind, and he gives it away in that mistake because everyone else, when they gave that EMT pack, and we're like, just hide in the blue and heal, he's like, that won't work. It got nerfed. It's not in the game anymore. Like, he knows. He's updated on the patches. He's playing the casual circuit, and that, I think, is important. But the way that this game is playing, so rapidly changing constantly, the players who have gone back to the old days and are putting reps in outside of scrims are the players that I think are going to be rising above this year.
I mean, it goes to any of the changes, right? Well, Nixie is just keeping that very strong mindset. You know what? If a lot of players don't like the changes, whether it's destructible terrain, whether it was a switch in perspective, doesn't matter what it is, he's going to take that as, you know what? I love these changes. I'm going to make sure that if anyone doesn't like him, I'm going to be the first one to come out and be strong. And that's exactly what he's doing. The amount of time Nixie and his team put into this game is absolutely disgusting, and it's wonderful to see.
Yeah, it has definitely showcased. By the way, Full Sense being able to get that chicken dinner in the last one. But the main storyline, boys, the Vicious Esports, this is their third game in a row that they've been able to get 10 or more kills. And they've been able to place now back to back top threes.
I mean, you got to be vicious. You got to have it in your name. You got to be out there to take some heads when it's time. 3 games of double digits in a row. It's gone down each time, but still getting 10 on that one is insane. The fact that they've gone from so little to so much, the fact that we keep comparing them to VP in these head-to-heads over and over again tells me this is a team who woke up. They said it's time to turn on, to get Tycon and going.
And that's the thing. I'm glad you mentioned it as we look at this beautiful... it sucks that it was on Liquid, but they're just having a day, I guess.
It ruined your whole vibe.
Kind of ruined my whole vibe. Thanks a lot, Twisted. No, but the thing that's really impressive, as you mentioned, Tycon, it's not just Tycon. The fact that we also have Ewc Pubg and Sir T in the mix, killing, they're all contributing to this team, and they're playing so damn lights out that a lot of the teams around them, I mean, the only reason Full Sense really was able to take them out in this game is because they had already dealt with 2 other teams.
Yeah. And Bishop didn't really have to do much of the rotation in this game, but they were still finding a way to make sure that they ended up getting those kills, which is pleasant to see when a team is able to just take full advantage of that and then just continuing with the kills. It's insane what we're currently seeing out of the Vicious. It's insane what we saw out of GAM in that last game as well, because this squad was able to, with that 14-point performance, jump up from that last place. As we were talking earlier, there is a lot of money still at stake where you end up being in the leaderboard. And for GAM, that's good. We saw some fancy earlier too.
Yeah. You know, we got a couple of shouts for Gam. They got some fans here. They get to make some big pushes. But I think really what benefited both Gam and Vicious, but particularly Vicious here, is that the expectations fell off when they showed up today. They were far enough behind that everyone just stopped looking at them. They across the board, you're like, okay, whatever we do today can't get worse. So you go out there and you just push. And Vicious is going to go from now on. They're going to say, okay, it worked. Even if I have one bad game, I'm not going to readjust after this one. I'm going to say aggression is my only option. And they're going to do this until either Smash Rule finishes or we hit the 18. I bet they go full force.
Yeah, and look at the leaderboards. They're currently in third place. And again, you know, to talk about the roster, my favorite of that team and one of the better support players for them, I call him YM Coot, but it's really Duckmai, but it's an old meme. But I feel like Duckmai has been so instrumental, and he's always watching the rear, right? He's always making sure that their anchor is safe, and then they have Tycon who's able to just go forward, do whatever he wants. And the other two also supporting him, and they're just all fragging, which again is wonderful to see. And I think a big part of that is the expectations were gone and the confidence started to build.
And they're making a concerted effort to get out in front as quickly as possible.
Very proactive.
Now, Falcons, in that last game, I thought we had the shot. VP got caught up a little bit. Falcons was kind of slow playing it in town. In fact, it felt like they were even moving over to where that VP engagement started with 17 to see if they could play mop up. I think the problem for them is they got there a little late. There was only one 17 player left. Then they got stuck down into how do we fight urban warfare to get out of this position. And that's not something you ever want to deal. When every window is a threat, you know you're going to lose people. They got kicked to the middle. He did his best to lay down. But again, that's just hopes for the best. Not every game is going to be a banger, but they are still gaining little by little.
Yeah, and Falcons was just looking to find some blessing from the zone, because even earlier on, they were trying to do some wide rotations. They were trying to go northwest, and then the zone just kept pulling and pulling away from them. But now we're going to talk about some of the other squads that we really haven't been able to fully talk about. Twisted, I mean, we talked about Twisted earlier, but this squad is just, we want to see a little bit more. Same with Navi and same with everybody else, because look what Vicious has been able to do now, back-to-back games.
Yeah, and the thing is with Navi and Vitality, they're still, I mean, they're out there 78, 77 points, right? They're still making those kind of quiet, concerted efforts to get these points. But with Twisted, this was kind of their last good game that we've seen after some unfortunate fumbles, as well as the top. Like when we look at teams like Falcons and we look at teams like VP dropping 0 points, 2 points only in those games, that is a massive open door for these teams to come up and start catching up on the points they desperately need.
And I don't know what's going on with VP, because again, they only got 2 points in that last one. And this is one of those things where I don't think they're playing defensively. I just feel like they're still doing what they do. It's just not clicking the same way. It's not. And I don't even know if it's not working. It just isn't getting the points. And so that is the story here. The fact that they have let this become a race here going into the final game is shocking to me, because if Falcons can close, if Vicious has another 10+ kill game, they're literally right back into that hunt where they're only about 8 points back going into tomorrow.
Yeah, and the Vicious is just going to be looking to keep that momentum going until tomorrow, too. Are they going to be getting another 10+ kills game for the Vicious? Or is VP finally going to respond as we head into the final game of PUBG Battlegrounds at EWC 26, Day 2?
Time to set pole position. VP's been in the lead after a massive Day 1, but Day 2's been a little bit more quiet. BC been eating all of the points, where Falcons wanting to try to catch up. How are we going to move into tomorrow? Because remember, it's all about whoever is in first place plus 10 points, and then we go smash all the way.
Exactly, Matt. I can't wait to see how this one's going to end up, because now it feels like this has become a lot more of a wide open affair at the top of the leaderboard. Yes, VP still has a pretty comfortable lead, but it has been getting less and less so. They've been feeling that pressure all day, and they haven't been able to rake in a ton of points.
They had a comfy lead at the start of the day. Now they have like, you know, whenever your sock feels like it has like that wrinkle on the inside of it and you keep stepping on it?
Yeah.
You're still happy that you have your shoes on, but it's still kind of annoying.
And at least the sock isn't wet. Yeah,
That's true. That's true. That's the worst. Everybody knows that is. Now, plane path going to be very southern. This is could lead to some, I guess, weird starts as we look at this. Team Liquid's going to go away from Georgia Pole. They're going to go for a drop pretty close to AGAL. Gen G is going to be down here, as well as GAM. VC is going to have Novo to work around. So now eyes just kind of turn, I think, most notably to VP and Falcons. How much can they get out of a circle like this? If this goes up onto the main island, Falcon's going to love it, specifically if it pulls that mill to power side of it. VP also going to have control over the western side, but no. It is going to all come back down to a focus point on radio tower right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very curious to see how VC wants to approach this first circle. If they're going to be one of those teams that wants to get up to that radio tower and be that kind of damage-dealing, harassing team, or if they're going to look for like some of the positions that are a little more west, kind of anticipating, you know, future potential movements of the circle, I should say, is a very big question on how, you know, different teams like to approach that area. I think about some of the Americas teams. I think they're more keen to go up to the very tippy top of that and just lock that down and try to play for some kills and things like that.
We play a little bit more wild. Is that what I hear you saying?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, okay.
Is that okay?
Not gonna argue. Well, Falcons not so much right now.
No.
Team Liquid's playing very, I guess, aggro, but in a different style. Early game aggro, which I don't have a problem.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, Liquid came in with a game plan, and they're sticking to it. You know, for the most part, it hasn't gone 100% to plan.
I think it's going to be APAC that goes for the top of the radio tower. They want to shoot all the things. I wouldn't be surprised if it's probably VC or maybe... I mean, AGAL has shown a lot of strength out of playing that position. They don't do it a lot, but when they do, it's scary.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm just curious what, you know, what Vicious's ideas are. That's where I'm leaning right now, especially given where they're at in the leaderboard and the day they've had.
Vicious is, they are, yes, vicious. We're not arguing that, but it feels like it's not just bloodthirsty. You don't want to say it's like barbarian rage, charging at whatever you can get. There is a methodology to the madness, and it is just a quiet strength that they bring out. Is popping a little bit of a, what do you call it whenever like a boat pops a wheelie? It can't be a wheelie because it doesn't have wheels.
I was just wondering the same thing in the back of my head. I'm like, what do you even call this?
A boatie?
When a boatie? There you go. Sure.
Boatie
we'll go with that for now.
face?
Yeah, exactly. I'm not sure. But Myth going to make a quick rotation across the bridge, wants to get ahead of any potential campers. You know, who knows if VC had gotten really spicy. They are going to go up to the top here with Simon T. Just him for now. Curious if there's going to be more heading that way. Seems to be the case. Myth has the option for kind of the compound underneath the hill if they want.
I don't like this. I feel like Myth is like, nobody's shooting at us. Maybe we can go radio tower. Jacob, I think, I think they maybe spotted somebody a bit more on the top that was profiling them. Yeah, now they're going to go ahead and go the other side. I was nervous there for a moment.
You might have been right that AGAL wants the top of that radio tower. Like, they are driving in a direction that makes me kind of question what the plan is, or if they're just maybe thinking something very different, because they are moving away from the center of the circle.
Look at this coming up from Vicious. They have just a full commitment onto radio tower. They don't want anything else. They don't want the crossroads. They don't want the control compounds around it. They are just committed up here. And yeah, it can be good if you have this position for long enough and the circle stays over here. But if it leaves, boy, does it suck to get out of that point. I have to assume that they've got an emergency pickup or something to kind of like leapfrog over all of this, because trying to get out of that spot sucks.
Yeah, it can be very treacherous. There is no doubt about that. HAL went into Novo proper, so kind of curious if they're sort of hedging their bets maybe. I don't know if they're looking to gatekeep or looking for a boat, or if they've got a team in mind that they wanted to try to cut off in rotation in that direction potentially.
We do have those two emergency pickups, most notably with 17, but also Falcons has called one, and that makes me scared. If they go all the way to the opposite side of it, Team Liquid's already got control over that southern coast, so Falcons going to be coming into this blind. Is it a full four-man, or maybe is it just a bit of a scout? It looks like most people are converging, and Falcons going to put their pole position placement, trying to catch up to VP on an emergency pickup, blind send, and the military base.
I think I saw a P90 in the mix there for them on the back of Kickstart's bag. So I think that should be pretty nice stuff for Falcons to work with if they do get in a fight when they come down. Now, they do have some stuff west of the end.
Is so tall. And they can actually hit these shots pretty easy.
That's not impossible for players of this caliber. You're absolutely right, man.
Are VC watching it? Oh, they're starting to beat in and look that direction. Are they going to take any shots just yet? I don't see anything coming out. They might let this one go, but there was a big opportunity to get something out of that. All right, Falcons, you made it past that section. You can see VC watching it. Longer range, actually, I think it was Gam was maybe taking some shots. I'm just afraid for wherever Falcons falls.
Yeah, Simon T did just scoop up a crate there as well for himself. Drove down off the top of the mountain. Nobody's watching the backside of it, really. 17's all the way tunneled in on the compound over on that other side. Now, there is a red zone here, and that can be a little bit scary for sure. Will help create some cover for the teams on the mountain if the circle ends up in this area. Just got to fan out about it a bit here as Falcons wait this out. VC has some safety inside of the compound if they so choose, but Simon T Just going to be coming back. It is going to be the P90 that he scooped up for his squad from that crate to the south. And yeah, okay.
Okay. Another thing to note, we do have Vitality that's going for an emergency pickup, but 17 actually after their emergency pickup, I believe, found the vehicle that was along the road. I think that Falcons was aiming to try to drop on that vehicle, pick it up, and then move wherever else. Saw the fact that 17 had picked it up, and that might be why they made more of a commitment back in the radio tower, but that means that Tig, Shrimsy, and the rest of the boys are just going to be on foot, navigating that Badlands hillside, coming out of the radio tower, and hoping the circle gives them some favors, because if it cuts far west, up to the north, that's going to be a really hard trek on foot.
There is one boat, but it is a little bit dangerous, as we can see. Virtus Pro has settled in to one of those bridge camp positions where they're trying to hide that they're here. Lou's been driving around for a little while. The rest of Twisted just past Pachinki right now, so they're a bit far away. So if there's a trap that is sprung on top of him, he might be in trouble. Let's see if they want to mess with him as he goes to grab for this boat.
Grab the boat, but then the lighthouse could be a problem. I think it's Corexy that's playing up there right now. The rest of Twisted are making their rotate. They might be just going for the cove that's just to the north of where we see VP playing from. You know, the kind of one that leads into all the other houses. If VP just goes for ascended off the side, they could be harassed by a light. Actually, no. Blue looks like he's cutting more to the west. Interesting.
I think this means that Twisted won't fall into this trap. Oh, no, they're driving into it.
Oh, I thought they might just go Fairy Pier. Lou, you might be safe, but nobody else is. That's a problem. 2 down already. Twisted took the path of least resistance, but it was actually heavily resisted.
Oh, and that's so smart there from VP to not shoot at Lou. Lou was trying to bait out some shots by getting in and out of the boat a little bit there to see if anybody was going to try to punish him. Turned out there was a punishment waiting, but Virtus Pro was even more patient. Who knew the polar bears could stalk their prey like that? They do a phenomenal job there. Get themselves two guaranteed points.
Vitality, where are you going to stop? As the circle does kind of move more center of everything. So Gam going to be in a great spot. Jin G, full sense, looks like they've got inside track to a great point to play from. Team Liquid's just going to continue to hold down the south. VC's got the radio tower, do those shots back over at DK. Anyone's Legend, Shadow also have to move in from the east. T1's going to cross that eastern bridge. They should be fine. Really, it's just about now what does Twisted do? Lose on the island, but he's all by himself. His Vitality's going to be landing on top of Gam, but this building doesn't have the best sight lines onto everything that's going on above it. Tandu's actually rotating away while Vitality just sneaks in and takes the spot.
Yeah, this is a little bit concerning for Gam. Now they kind of have to hold on in this 2-2 split. Clories and Tanvu starting to hoof it back over, maybe even have a vehicle to work with. Duck Juice, though, underneath, able to take down Hello My Bad. So that's a nice start. But you do have Gedrox going down as well. So Vitality felt like maybe they were going to have the drop on Gam. No.
Place right now, and it feels like that pack that's chasing Twisted Minds at 70 points, just going to be trying to usurp it, come up quick. DK's on a bit of run of their own right now, so Vitality instead goes for the safer play. They surrender the building and just retreat to the oil derricks, and that's not very safe. There is no hard angles around that, so you always feel like you're vulnerable because there is no specific safe angle from everything.
Yeah, it is not fun to play out there. As anybody who has tried has found out. So Vitality going to be in a really precarious position, to say the least, with PK just outside of the...
Gam was expecting them to push, man.
Yeah, dude. Oh, yeah. Gam has to. I mean, you have to be ready because as Vitality, you don't have great options. And so one of the options might just be to try and fight. But Vitality's going to try to squeak their way into the late game if possible.
VP's now leaving this point. So if VP leaves, Perfectix can swoop in back behind, get the blue chips, maybe fill up the trunk a little bit more with some of the basic loot and go for a blue chip because there is the res beacon that's just kind of the northeast of that. Blue doesn't have any vision on it, so he wouldn't know. Perfectix might just have to play this one safe, and yeah, he's actually going to move over into the west and doesn't know that VP's left.
Well, VP has a ton of circle for themselves, too.
Yeah.
A lot of teams have gotten clustered in the center of the military base, center of the circle as best they can. So that entire west side's open. Baron, that's a nice shot with the ace. Takes down End. End trying to scoot away, but cannot. Will be claimed by Kiss. So Myth, but Baron gets caught by a grenade from Raining right on top of him. Heather, 2 HP, trying to find some safety to heal.
You got to kill that man. You can't leave him on 2 HP. He will murder your whole squad. Na'Vi wanted a piece of what we saw just 1 second ago. Try to get themselves back into the point hunt. The type pretty far away. He's just got to keep a control angle on what's going on with Hackatory and the rest of the crew. So this is going to be abandoned by the circle, and we move directly on to military base proper, and the airfields and Team Liquid already in a good point, left that coastline. Going to be kind of setting up around that, but VC, okay, now you've got to move down from the radio tower, and Falcons are already kind of prepped for it, expecting it to go this direction. Is going to be moving into, guess what, maybe the bunkers position? That's about the best you can find there.
Yeah, it gets a little sparse on the southern side of the military base. Some of the buildings in the center give you some level of comfort and safety for sure. And some of those like missile silo things are not too bad at times once the circle starts to kind of work in that direction. Exactly where Gen G is. I don't know.
Run right back into shadow.
T1 is just, they've lost the script. They've lost the plot. I think they're going for the revive.
Maybe?
I'm pretty sure. No?
Shadow doesn't even take shots.
Or they're just making a wide wrap? Are they going to go up to the tower?
Might be trying to just go around the radio tower itself, because sure, I mean, Tycon's up there, but no, he's taking the shots. Navi doesn't really like playing into the north, so they might just go ahead and jump back down to the south. That's going to be the field area that we can see the Team Liquid's got mostly under control, but no, instead it's just going to be a cut and run right down in the center. But Genji's too separated to really do too much about this unless they get a knock right here. Nope. It's going to be mostly full sense again. That's going to try to get something out of it. Belmont gets knocked onto Hackator.
Yeah, from those garage houses, full sense able to connect a ton of damage. Now, Boostic does have the M249. Finds a knock to try to relieve some of this pressure that full sense was able to create, but Tigger can find a good grenade here. Could spell the doom of Navi, and it's perfect! Oh!
Okay, full sense. More control over the center would be good. Getting rid of Navi would be magnificent. Navi still holding on to fourth place, but just by 1 point. Vitality has to be loving watching this happen. The kill feed is now Ferris, the last one up. He's just going to be hiding in crates. There is nothing else that he can really do over here. Maybe he can sneak over and get these reses, but you can see everybody's just trying to chain crawl toward him. Hackatori should be resable. I don't know about the other side of it, as Gen G is going to lose a player on the other side of this.
Yeah, I mean, again, Gen G really loves these widespread formations. They just don't work in a lobby like this. There's just too many good players, and there isn't enough cover from the positions that the other players had taken to bail out anybody who gets under pressure. They just have to kind of sacrifice players left and right. Duckmai, ooh, he's got a knock there on the handsy, I believe. So it's going a little bit awkward for... Yep, there you go. It's awkward for Shadow, is what I should say.
Yeah, Shadow followed T1, and Vicious was just watching that the whole time. So this does cost Vicious placement in the circle, but there is some open areas down in the southeast that they can play around. Shadow, you can see, just kind of trapped out here right now with Duckmine out down. Jexy does get that knock. Tycon, though, is not going to let that go quietly. I think he wants some vengeance back. Blue Zone going to be putting in some work, and it just takes a couple of taps to put Jexy down.
Yeah, but you're kind of seeing the results of what you were talking about earlier, Matt, where coming down off this mountain sucks. Like, and like to VC's credit, they're trying to wait this out long enough that they don't have to deal with teams when they're coming down those slopes. But because Shadow took so long over in Novo, they got involved with a fight with AGAL, I think, early on, that it's kind of getting a little bit tricky for them. Seeing some mortars come into play, Scappy doing some damage, Navi losing their lives, and they are done for the day. Currently in fourth. Feels safe-ish, but then who knows with Geekay still there. Vitality still has two players up.
Okay, where do you go? VP looks like they're going to get control over to the southwest. What they're stretching out for. T1's barely touched the circle. Shadow doing the same, but they ran right into the Falcons. Remember, Falcons just kind of running down on foot. Shadow doesn't, at least has a vehicle. Get a little bit further into this, but I think that Falcons just might want those vehicles and might start chasing after Shadow.
Oh, no doubt. And also, you know, with Kamal's being knocked up front there, you're going to be feeling pretty comfortable to even scoop up a point potentially here and claim a lot of control over this eastern edge at the very least temporarily. You'll have the safety of these shelters. Gustav knows that there's a player in there, so thinking about the grenade, but Cessna dug in the back.
Gustav better be careful on the peak. They also don't want to do too much damage to the car, so wouldn't be surprised if they try to avoid going for the tires. Actually, they don't care. Just throw the nade right back behind it. Setsuna in some trouble. He has to run forward, runs right out, does get the knock. Full play, does at least get 1 point before he goes down, and it's on to Shrimsy of all people.
Yeah, he had to go for something crazy, and he knew it, and almost converted with more than just one, but opted to just stick for the point, try to keep themselves out of that bottom position. In fact, it's a three-way tie at the very bottom of the leaderboard with AGAL and 17, so keeping things a little bit interesting down there. Of course, every placement matters. You want to get a little bit more money. There is Tycon, one of the two survivors for Vicious, just taking a peek, seeing what's going on with Falcons, seeing if maybe there's a free point available, but none will be offered up to him, and he is going to have to find his way in. Now, there's options for him for sure. He has either like the side of the hill if Falcons abandon it, but because they're on the top of it, he's not going to have that available to him right now. There's some stuff to the west that he could drive to that has a little bit of cover, so there's things here that Tycon can work with, at least in the next circle, it looks like.
Pal's playing over into the east as well. Looks like they're just trying to find something. Luke 12 is going to go down on the rotate from Team Liquid. I think that they had managed to call back in one of their players, and it's like it's punished. Cowboy, yep. He just tried to go for something, at least maybe scout out for the rest of the squad. Is now Team Liquid's just kind of the odd team out. There's nothing in this section of the circle that feels good, and they're just trapped over here, and this is just been kind of what's going on for Team Liquid. They're finding the kills, but they just can't find a way into some of these circles that are just so mean, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, and there's this little oil drum that Tycon has found for safety. Sees Curdy driving around the outside. Yep, Kurt just looking for any kind of safety. Him and Alo cross paths to see if there was something that they could do to get into this next circle, but there was not much.
Heard the Chinese casters over to my left here. They just flip it out. It's like, 17, managing to get up. Now tied up with Team Liquid, get that distance away from Shadow and AGAL if they can find it. Team Liquid now going to get eliminated. 17's got control over the south in that, I guess, more open territory, but VP is going to move to the crates to the west of them that they're taking shots. Is now POW. I mean, what do you do, man? You've got Vitality. Remember, we saw them go to those oil derricks earlier. They're going to be gatekeeping you one side, and you still have to get where we've seen the compound that everybody keeps trying to just emergency pick up to, that GAM's got control over, the most eastern section of the circle.
Yeah, things get really uncomfortable for anybody not in this current circle, because trying to get through should be relatively challenging. VP's actually sending it pretty deep towards the center. I love the way VP has played this game from start to finish. Controlling that western bridge not only gave them points, but it also gave them so much space on the western side that they've opened up a lot of the circle for themselves here in the mid game.
Look at this weird thing they've got going on. Falcons got to run to the circle. They get a knock on a Tycon. But now Tycon feeds the information over to POW. So POW's going to try to sneak over here. It looks like he was maybe trying to backstab onto the Falcons. Remember, Falcons trying to see if they can catch up the VP. VP's in a pretty decent spot in the circle, while Falcons just got to chase. Gustav not going to let it happen, though. So Falcons getting both players of Vicious on opposite sides of the circle.
Oh, phenomenal reactions here by Gustav. Even though he's down to 1 HP, he's able to hold on just barely. But speaking of holding on, it's now just Quizzy for Vitality. He is looking to find some entry into this circle, but again, there aren't great options. Maybe you can get some kills, has the AK at the ready. Oh, switches over to Mark 12. Falcons trying to make the smoke bridge.
This doesn't feel good. I think they spotted. Nade's going to roll forward. There you go. Tig going to find another one. That's really about pathing, though. But guys, remember, Vitality tried to leave. They didn't like it that direction. They had to retreat back here. Falcons, you're about to just have to fight your way against GAM or Geek K, who's been hearing this firefighting and is now sitting up around the oil derricks waiting to catch. Remember, we talked. There's no safe angles around these things. Geek K is going to have one side of it, GAM on the other. Falcons are walking into a death trap and they don't know it.
And that was Tig's last smoke. So there just isn't any other ways to create extra cover and angles for yourself as Falcons. You have to do it just with your feet and your wits. And we'll see if Gustav has that available. Geek, I don't know how aware they're going to be of this. Gustav might catch.
Oh, can't blame the wall.
Akan is kind of watching it there, but there's some smokes over here. Some noise being made, though, and now it's danger close. Geek on guard.
Go! Round an exchange. It's going to be Park Pro that gets the knock on to Gustav. Gustav at least takes down Akan. Now, Falcons, where do you go? Crossfire now being set up. Gam taking shots at kickstart. He's just trying to cover any movement for the rest of Falcons to see if they get next to Gustav. But great shot comes out from Songjon. Hits it, and now Falcons in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, the links there for Songjon. Spelling doom. Tiggleton trying to heal through this blue and get into that 8th place spot if possible. Oh! He gets the knock on to Sungjon. They lose track of possibilities. Is Tig going to be able to get the heal off in time? No, they aren't able to get any placement points.
BP jumping on the other side of what's going on with 17 and Jin G. Now just fighting to see how much distance that they can get away from Falcons. VC down behind them. Navi down. Vitality down. Twisted down. So Falcons going to hold down that 2nd place position. It's just about how much more can VP get. 4 kills right now, and it's going to be moving into a very foot push friendly section of the map.
Yeah, this is still looking okay-ish for VP. I mean, again, they're going to have some opportunities with these barrels and other things that are in the way of the military base proper that they can work with to at least keep themselves somewhat safe, but it requires smokes to get there, and they're going to be sending it deep into the crates.
Okay, squeeze by there. Full Sense is going to be alerted to it, but they don't have the angles on anything going. AGAL is getting picked apart on the other side of this. They're trying to make their push next to Gam. Gam's still just holding down the compound that they've held for so long, but it's not really inside the circle anymore. Gen G is going to be regrouping just in front of them. It's really just about how much more VP can get, and they've got center control in phase number 6 based off this move. Uh-oh. That's all I can say for this lobby.
Whoa, there we go. I'm very curious as well about Full Sense's frag grenade situation, because we saw that they were able to really destroy Na'Vi with those in that moment when they dropped in there. So right now, it doesn't seem like they're going to commit those just yet. Maybe trying to get a better idea of where Virtus Pro players are, or maybe just ran out. Hard to say which it is. GK going to come through with 3 still alive, so not the end of the world for them. You do get Sungjong with that Lynx back on his feet for them, so some heavy firepower still in the mix.
Big thing for me is AGAL, Gam. They've got to get in the circle. Gen G's still holding them out. Gen G's been kind of fighting up against them for a while, but D doesn't have the best defended angle against this approach that anyone's Legends trying to do. You can see that they smoked wall around, moved over onto the other side of the silos, managed to creep in on this one. It's not quite in for safety, and really this back corner that we can see that AGL is playing, it's not inside the safety zone either. They're going to have to move to the more vulnerable side of it, and they'd much rather kind of play this position, but the other players for Gen G can defend D as long as he can find some safety, but they manage to pick up at the perfect side of it, but D holds it, gets the knock on the 1, does go down to the second, but AGAL now down to just destroy, and they had to deal with Gen G. The timing on the other side of this, though, is Gam played it perfect. They ran across right as soon as AGAL made their move.
Oh, Soul had absolutely wrecked Gam, but because D couldn't hold on his own, he gets hit in a flank angle by Destroy. So he's going to have to crawl down to the safety of the inside of the missile silo to try to survive. But Tanvu, I think, might have a sense of it. The grenade bounces just shy of the mark.
Gam's got to do this fast. GK's back behind them. They need to move as well. Shots now starting to come on to Gam. There's nowhere to go. GK just absolutely massacring Gam. Big nade lands in the middle of them. Follow up. Duck Juice, the last one alive. But now GK's in trouble. Myth is taking shots at them, and this cross is going to be hazardous.
Well, I mean, for GK, getting some kills there is very nice because, again, tough run to make for you going forward, cutting across the sight lines of a couple different teams, but you just bailed Gen G out just a bit as well. So let's see how they're going to opt to try to make their move forward. Still have about 25 seconds until that next circle pops. So Park Pro going to use the folding shield to offer himself a little bit of cover. Meanwhile, Virtus Pro, given the time, given the space, they are going to start creating those foxholes, start creating their defensive network.
Getting scarier and scarier for the lobby by the second. GK's got to move. Gen G's position in the silo to the north, not going to be too good. Destroy still alive for AGL to the south of it. Nothing good happening in the middle of it, as hey, in the middle of all of VP is going to be some mortars coming out. Kiss and the rest of the crew from Myth have got control of the north, but DK had the exact same idea that Myth had just, not Myth, I'm sorry, but we had Gam had a moment ago. They're going to push the other side of the silo, and can they get any knocks? Nah, Jacob's going to go ahead and spot out EJ to start it off.
Was just short of corrects. He hit the top of the crate, couldn't quite get far enough to do any damage to him, so Scappy not really connecting with the mortars, but very, very close with a few of them. But close is not good enough in a game like this where you need to be doing damage to VP to keep them from continuing to extend that lead that they have right now up to 114. GK looking for the res and then probably going to try to take this fight.
Can't really go for too much of a peek because of Destroy's positioning, but Gen G can't move because of where we see GK at. So Park Pro at least finishing one of those problems. Maybe be able to solve the second one here in just a second. Is no, Myth still getting involved. Songjong going to get knocked again, and it's just go time. GK's got to jump down right into the waiting arms of Gen G. That's one. Can they get the last shots on Park Pro? No, trying to step up and around it. That the silos providing some level of safety. Myth actually aggressively moving into this position as well, and Park Pro just getting cooked.
Beautiful coordination there from Soul and Bean. Just a perfect timing on the double molly. That was a thing of beauty. That looked like synchronized swimming for a second. Absolutely stunning work from them to keep GK out of their real threat range and problems. Now you have Corexy down. The problems starting to mount a bit for VP. However, Beamy able to respond, take Bean down from Gen G. More explosions rain in.
if VP can just outweight what's going on with Gen G, they'll have so much more control and safety to play from. Full Sense making in the later stages yet again, trying to see if they can touch that 70s pack that everybody's been hanging out at, but you can see that VP has to be cautious. Myth still getting more maneuverability over into the northeast, trying to get that space away from Full Sense. It's going to be Tigger that's really trying to hold them out. Gen G is the linchpin for everything that's happening right now. Myth can't move to the south because of Gen G's positioning, and VP can't focus on the circle because of Gen G.
Yeah, Gen G is left up a creek without a paddle, man. There is not a lot without a ton of smokes that they're going to be able to do in this scenario, or some unbelievably good frag grenades, some kind of utility going to be necessary to cross this space, it feels like. So there's one. Do we see two? There is a frag here from Soul. It is going to be up and over. Doesn't matter. He gets immediately taken down, and the grenade does not connect.
What do you do, Gen G? You're just, as you said, pretty much got a paddle over here. Spray's going to connect. More points to VP, though. That makes it even scarier for everybody else. It's going to be a squad down. 6 kills now, sitting at trying to touch that 120-point line. Myth, so few options. Kiss does at least manage to get a knock, but it's going to be Tigger that comes alive on the other side of it. This Full Sense finding a great flank onto this. Tigger's been playing it aggressively, but he goes down. That means that the whole push coming out from Full Sense on the side has collapsed, and the aggressive play coming up from Myth is punished.
And now it feels like this may just be a Virtus Pro win by nature of the fact that Myth and Full Sense have done so much damage to each other. Scappy going to take a moment to try to regroup or look at Corexy. He doesn't want to give them the opportunity if possible. There's still a lot of those emergency covers on the ground between Corexy and Myth, so he's having a tough time maybe finding the angle, but Lucarux immediately finds a re-knock, and there's the finish. It's Flash with the double.
More kills, more placement. VP is absolutely feasting right now. Full Sense, they managed to creep up just 2 points back behind Twisted Minds. That really it's going to be about that center dot. Lucarux going to be very close to it one side. Lots of compounds and Full Sense playing off, I guess, buildings the way they can really maneuver around them. VP's got the crates. Yeah, that's kind of good, but trying to bounce from one to the other feels so punishable, especially when you got VP playing mostly down into the southeast.
I like that our observers are showing us Belmoth right now because he's the key guy in this situation for Full Sense because he has a Lynx. That can be an instant difference maker for them. Meanwhile, Beamy has a Panzer, so two of the big key weapons that could be involved in this fight, that could turn the tide one way or another, are going to be big points of focus potentially. So Beamy Belmoth, are you going to be able to do anything?
Here's my question. How superstitious are you? VP, if they manage to take the last round right before moving into the Smash rules, means the fact that they're pretty much going to have to double it up to follow out of everything. So VP, though, they want points. They want distance. They want everybody to be chasing after them. They want to be in charge to start punishing everybody else that could try to take the position. Nixie does get down Flash. That's going to open up Lucarux to get more aggressive on positioning above it all. BB cross side of the entirety of the circle, trying to make sure that nobody goes for a push after the down player. Going to get a great line right onto Full Sense, walking through the smokes, and right in the face, Lucarux, no fear. VP comes up big last game, and they are setting the pace in a big way.
This is a huge, huge moment for Virtus Pro. They are going to set that point threshold that much higher because of it and give themselves that many more opportunities to be your champions here at EWC 26 coming into tomorrow. A big win, a big statement game, and the threshold will be 136 points tomorrow.
Oh, man, Falcons, you're going to have your work cut out for you. 15 points back behind you is going to be VC, who's been having a crazy day. Let's just be honest on that. They have just been charging up the leaderboards. But Virtus Pro, cold as ice, just locking it down at the end. It's been a bit quiet until it wasn't.
Right, and then that game essentially sets the leaderboard back to where it was at the beginning of today in terms of the distance between them and Falcons. It's almost the exact same point spread that we had at the start. So even though Falcons felt like they were maybe going to be able to catch up a little bit to Virtus Pro here, this last game just undid those first 5 games.
It breaks the mental of everybody back behind them because now Falcons have to know that VP are going to be trying to hold them back. They can play 6 games. They're confident in that. They're comfy with it. They don't have to worry about it. These guys get points every single time. Everybody else, we've been talking about how close that pack of points is, leading down into everybody. What, Navi at 78, Vitality at 77. those guys can't go for big, huge plays because they don't want to lose the money. They don't want to lose the standings on the club championship. Everybody's going to have to start playing leaderboard positioning and eyes on their own individual futures rather than going after VP in that first place position.
Exactly that. Yeah. See, Nixie as always the most excited out of the bunch. But another thing that we should point out is that if anybody wants to hit that smash where they win via chicken dinner, if Falcons needs almost 40 points just to hit the threshold, and that's before even needing to then get the chicken dinner to get the win.
And we talked about it. This is a change up for IGLs for Falcons. Yes, it's been going great, but it is not the nigh immaculate VP that we've been seeing. Just what, one game where they didn't manage to find something off of it. You can see the guys talking right now. It's just like, yeah, come on. Got to bring it a little bit. Gunnar and the rest of the crew knows that they're going to be following it up, and a lot of it falls onto that man's shoulders. Gustav, you've got to find something big.
Tycon, no, you guys played good today.
No, why?
No, it's okay.
Somebody made a bad call.
I love Tycon. He's so funny.
I mean, Vitality also having a very decent day for themselves. They've managed to touch up into that top 4 with a little bit of a slide.